yesterday as Bitcoin broke past $100,000 USD. So it's now a good time to buy Bitcoin. Should you wait for like 60K, which some people are saying, or if you miss the biggest transfer of wealth in human history, nation state, FOMO, it's about to become very real. The game, it's being played. It's stacked against so many people, but we have come below $100,000 shortly. Sam Samau saying buy the fabulous dip here. But talking about should you wait or should you buy Bitcoin at $100,000 or just under 99,120, which is absolutely insane that we were at $100,000 yesterday, and we're going to go straight back up to it pretty shortly, is my opinion. But Jane Addams here, and nothing against Jane. It's just a sentiment that's starting to float around a little bit. And I'll read what Jane wrote, sort of sums up. There's two camps at the moment. One camp is you should buy Bitcoin forever because it's going up forever. The other camp is wait for a nice big pullback. But it could be a little bit dangerous. So Jane, do not buy Bitcoin right now. Let me say that again. Do not buy Bitcoin right now. The price has skyrocketed to $100,000. Yes, it has. And the so-called experts screaming for you to jump in and nothing more than opportunic. I can't even say that word. Predators. Salivating at the chance to prey on your fear of missing out. These shills, these con artists are orchestrating a classic pump and dump scheme, lining their own pockets while leaving you holding the bag. Couldn't even spend a day at 100K before this comes out. Be smarter than they think you are. The market always corrects. Wait for Bitcoin to drop to 60,000 or lower before even thinking about investing. Don't be fooled by their greed and lies. The people hyping Bitcoin at this price are not your friends. They're the reason so many hardworking folks get burned. Stay vigilant. Don't let the scammers win. In a way, I sort of agree with Jane. Let us know if you do or don't. Where I agree with it is just to be able to buy something that you do not understand. Bitcoin is a very volatile asset. In my opinion, it's not risky, but it does take quite a while to spend time reading the books. Parallel's a good one. Bitcoin Evangelism's a good book. The Bitcoin Standard Beers for Bitcoin. Pay attention to Bitcoin Broken Money. But if you are new to Bitcoin because you saw Bitcoin at $100,000 yesterday, strongly, and like TLDR, it's always a good time to buy Bitcoin, in my opinion. Please do your own research, not financial advice. We've pretty much at 100,000. We're at $100,000 when I went to sleep. We went live for it. But we are going to wake up. Bitcoin's going to be at 1 million. That's going to be at 10 million. And that seems like such an impossibility. But Bitcoin at $100,000 felt like a impossibility for so long, and then it happened. And the way now that nation states coming in, we've got so much bullishness to be able to show you that nation states are paying attention to Bitcoin. Like, there's just some crazy stuff that's come out in the last 24 hours, but let's just see where we are in space and time. I'll hit refresh. 99,045. Sort of looks like Bart Simpson's head on the charts there. And shout out to everyone watching live and watching the replay. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. We've got some amazing podcasts. The British Hodl podcast should be dropping in a couple of hours. Should get that back. But we had a $6,000 move in the last 24 hours. A low 97,687. High 103,679. It did happen while the US was asleep. It does look like Korea is buying an extraordinary amount of Bitcoin. But if we just flip over to where I live, which is over here in Australia, we can see Bitcoin. It's probably a little bit lower than this, a little bit higher. 153,561. Is it like $161,000 yesterday in Pacific pesos? This number over time is going to continue to keep going up. And I guess like another quick TLDR is they're going to print money forever and ever and ever. Bitcoin's the hardest, scarcest monetary asset that's ever existed in human history. It's 16 years old. And whether you think Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme or fantastic, amazing magic internet money, which I truly believe it is, it's life-changing, that really doesn't matter. People, just in general, like things that are shiny, that are rare, that are new, that give optionality, but also that are based on truth. And that is Bitcoin. So just because it's a rare, scarce digital asset, there's only going to be 21 million of them ever existed. There's 66 millionaires in the world or thereabouts. They're going to want to come for the Bitcoin. And that's just like millionaires. And then we've got nation states coming in. Michael Saylor, what he's doing with MicroStrategy, building this digital Fort Knox in cyberspace around the business. It's absolutely insane. It'll be interesting what happens with Microsoft over the next coming days. What are we, 4 days away from that, the board voting, whether they start adopting Bitcoin. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. But we are living in this world of AI now. And Bitcoin's going to be that currency, in my opinion. We'll get into a little bit more, but this is very interesting.
Joining us right now is Joe Amato. He's the President Chief Investment Officer.
Very, very interesting because he did not buy Bitcoin.
Joining us right now is Joe Amato. He's the President Chief Investment Officer at Neuberger Berman, which has $509 billion in assets under management, and they're not all in Bitcoin, I don't think.
They are not.
They are not. Maybe they should be?
Given that it's up 47% since the election, I guess we missed it. But it's been certainly an interesting ride. And I do think there are developments there from a regulatory standpoint, potentially a legislative standpoint, that have built some of that enthusiasm, together with a little bit of the sort of animal spirits that have been created since November 11th.
What do you tell clients about Bitcoin?
Well, we tell them to be very careful. Look, I admit it, I've been a skeptic over the years because of some of the things that you just quoted Powell on in terms of its store of value. It's not a currency equivalent, right? It is a speculative asset. And we say be very, very careful. Be very careful. We don't have it in client assets right now. There are ways to play it through the exchanges. But certainly it's getting the attention, and we're getting lots of questions about it.
40% since the election, but 60% ARR for 15 years or 10 or 15 years. So I mean, you've missed it.
We have missed that.
Yeah.
We did miss the U.S. equity market, though. So.
Yeah, but you missed the greatest wealth transfer in history. So just on that, if you are feeling a little bit of fear of missing out, FOMO, because you've missed it, I strongly believe you haven't, but it's about to get insanely volatile. Like by Christmas, we could be at $150,000, I think, a little bit under, say like $110,000, $120,000. I'm on the lower side. It'll be what it'll be. However, it's all good and you haven't missed it if you've got a longer term time frame. My strong belief is by 2030, Bitcoin will be at $1 million or more. And that's coming after talking to the best and the brightest minds within Bitcoin. Lawrence Lepard saying pretty much that the other day, Mark Moss. And the interesting thing, like they brought up $67,000. That was the day after Trump got elected. Whatever you think of the guy. Since then, 40% in a couple of weeks. It's absolutely insane. And that's the power of Bitcoin. But we've got so much to get through because Bitcoin, it's taking, like they're saying it's not an attack on the dollar. It's just overtaken the Australian dollar. So as a store of value, it's working pretty well. Next, we're coming for Google. It won't be long. As well as that, we do have nation states. We played this video yesterday, but this is pretty interesting, the conversation that's happening from like literally a dictator, like factually a dictator in regards to stopping Bitcoin, and maybe why there is a use case for citizens all around the world to be able to take charge of their finances.
Биткоин кто может запретить? Никто. А использование других электронных средств расчета кто может запретить? Никто, потому что...
Who can prohibit the use? Nobody. Nobody can prohibit the use of Bitcoin. Well done for sending it. Now, just to switch gears just for a moment, then we'll come back. Ross Ulbricht, he has been in prison for a very long time. One of Trump's campaign promises is would free this young individual and allow him to live out the rest of his life. So for the past year or so, he's been running a civilization-style game for my fellow prisoners. I'm now handing off to one of my good friends so he can run it after I'm gone. Ross Ulbricht, the founder, the creator of Silk Road, is counting down his days before he gets out. So coming back, Robinhood, it looks like there could potentially be some shenanigans going on. If you're holding your Bitcoin on any exchange, please just get it off. Bitcoin is thumb go up technology. It's amazing, but the real power of Bitcoin comes when you hold it in self-custody. It allows you to be a free sovereign individual. No government, institution, entity, individual can get in the way, confiscate it, stop you spending it. They can't debase it. But there are reports suggesting accounts are being randomly restricted or closed without clear explanations. Self-custody is the only way to truly own your Bitcoin, take control. If you need help, Tony at the Bitcoin Way, world's expert in Bitcoin IT and cybersecurity, you can reach out to Tony and the team. The first 30 minutes is free. Number one, they can hold your hand, they can guide you, they can empower you to be able to know what you need to know, to be able to fast track that journey to get your Bitcoin off the exchange. And then the third option, which I love, is they allow you to get a second passport in a country that is maybe a little bit more pro-freedom and favorable to Bitcoin. With the way the world's going, it's something to look into as you go down the rabbit hole. But this is what I find very interesting. I wake up and Trump says, congratulations, Bitcoiners, $100,000, you're welcome. Okay. Trump, you didn't make Bitcoin as cypherpunks, but if you want to take credit to it, what that is showing is Trump is very serious. The strategic Bitcoin reserve is maybe not just an election promise or election campaign talking point that was brought up to be able to get the votes. Potentially, it's actually going to happen. And when the United States government, if they start buying 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years, or 200,000 for as long as they can, things are about to get crazy. Nation state FOMO is about to get crazy. We're going to dive into what Korea is doing, but even Peter Schiff agrees with this. The game theory that's been kicked off now in the reality of Bitcoin being 100,000, when it's in self-custody, like the more people hold Bitcoin in self-custody and use the decentralized network as intended, the quicker we move towards a better new world. It's pretty incredible. But Trump, like, what are your thoughts on claiming credit for Bitcoin in 100,000? It doesn't surprise me, but I don't give him credit for it. Anyway, I give credit to everyone that was vocal over the last 16 years in regards to Bitcoin. Trump, if you want to do it. One thing in regards to Trump, though, is he is putting in people that are pro Bitcoin, or you can be a little bit looser with the definition, into the SEC and positions of power that are even pro crypto. Not that I have much interest in crypto. We saw a major rug pull by an influencer yesterday within the cryptocurrency space. It's one of the reasons why I stay away. A lot of those people, think XRP is going to be the next strategic treasury asset on companies' balance sheets. They are supporting a CBDC. But stacking the deck for a very favorable outcome over the next couple of years for Bitcoin adoption, it's interesting.
It's a great choice, quite simply. You have somebody who can hit the ground running. He has been a commissioner before. He knows how the commission works. And one really important factor that we're hearing about Paul Atkins is he gets along with people. All right, you can't underestimate how important that is. He needs to be able to work with the industry. He needs to be able to work with lawmakers. I've been at those hearings in Congress where it was antagonistic. Questions weren't being answered. Eyes were being rolled. And this was the Tory clarity. And it just wasn't going to happen with that back and forth and the tension that was created in the Gensler era. So we are very much looking forward to a person who can come in, hit the ground running, work with the other commissioners, and hopefully also have a dialogue with the CFTC and with lawmakers. So in the new Congress, we can get some clarity, we can get some forward motion, stable coin bill, market structure. So quite simply, this is an excellent choice, and he's another great add to the, you can't fault, regardless of your politics, you can't fault the economic team that is being put together by the transition team here.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And Time Chain Man, I completely agree. The last one claiming credit over Bitcoin has been legally proven to not be Satoshi. Watch that ego, Orange Man, 100%. And that person, that Time Chain Man, is referring to is Craig Wright, the only person in the entire planet that is legally defined not to be Satoshi Nakamoto, the most vocal advocate, saying that he was. Now, Yellow is a really interesting person. If you're just sort of tuning into the space of Bitcoin, a lot of high signal information, education, commentary goes on. And then we've got like a meme community that really brings positive vibes. Yellow for 1,000 and something days was holding these spaces over there on X. Don't Stop Believing. There is one going on at the moment. I believe it started about the same time this video did, and playing the same song day in, day out until we got to 100,000. Yellow is now free, and I just want to say, Yellow, well done for your work. Hopefully you've got a hobby, a passion project to be able to go on with, or you flip gears until we go to 1 million, because we are coming for 1 million. And I guess, like, going back to how we started this, if you're new to Bitcoin and you saw it at $100,000 yesterday, like, picked your interest and it's like, oh, this is real cool, I'm going to jump in, and then it's come back down. Anytime that Bitcoin is lower than when you bought it, it's another opportunity, in my opinion, to be able to buy more, to be able to push the green button, the red button, the gray button, which is when it goes sideways. But always just have a plan for the long term, but it's your money, it's your choice. But there's so many people that believe in it. We get nation states starting to believe in it now. Like, this is absolutely fascinating, what I'm about to bring up here. I should have scrolled up. Basically, it's just how the financial world has reacted since Bitcoin hit 100K yesterday. There's some really cool quotes in there, one of them from Peter Schiff, but just to be able to frame it. Now, Bitcoin has soared more than 500%. It has soared 5,000%. But you just need to go back a little bit earlier. 500% from the desperate days, November 2020, when Sam Bankman-Fried's empire collapsed. That was when FTX collapsed, and people that had Bitcoin on the exchange, they lose them. Please just get your Bitcoin off the exchange today. It's the most important thing. It's all that matters. If it's not in a hardware wallet, it's not your Bitcoin. And that's sad. That's a tragedy. But a big difference between prior boom bust cycles, Wall Street is firmly participating in this year's rally. They will be indefinitely now. The newly approved ETFs have lured institutions, sale force, some mighty traditional financial giants like BlackRock are hawking crypto-related products. The soon-to-be US President Trump supports Bitcoin digital assets. He even has a DeFi project because he's a degen, and obviously this is why he's coming out. You're welcome. You didn't do Jack, but good on you, Trump. If you want to stack the deck in our favor and claim credit, you're welcome. Mike Novogratz, $100,000 Bitcoin, a milestone that represents more than price. It's proof of adoption, belief in a community that has carried this revolution from 0 to 100. With world leaders leaning a generational wealth shift underway, this is just the beginning. This is Mike Novogratz, CEO of Galaxy. Now, Peter Schiff, prominent gold and stock investor and Bitcoin skeptic. It's ironic that Bitcoin only hit $100,000 by buying off politicians and getting in bed with government. Without expected government intervention, this milestone never would have been hit. What couldn't be done in a free market was achieved through the coercive power of the state. A little bit salty. Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, if you bought $100 of Bitcoin, when Coinbase was founded in June 2012, it would be worth about $1.5 million. If Coinbase bought Bitcoin and held it on their balance sheet, they'd be far better off as well. If you kept the $100 USD, you'd only be able to purchase about $73 worth of goods today. Bitcoin is the best performing asset of the last 12 years, and it's still early days. Pomp, what an epic milestone. Bitcoin continued to be highly volatile. It went up and it went down a lot too, and it's going to continue to. There's been multiple 30, 50, or 90% drawdowns. That type of volatility would usually scare off many people. It was one of the greatest selfless acts that I can think of. That's paraphrasing when Satoshi Nakamoto stepped away. Nayib Bukele. So Nayib Bukele is the president of El Salvador. El Salvador is on a Bitcoin standard. It has allowed Bitcoin to be used as legal tender. He posted a screenshot of El Salvador's Bitcoin portfolio. Then it ain't much, but it's honest work meme after Elon Musk called it impressive. And did see yesterday, Elon Musk is paying a fair amount of attention to Bitcoin, saying, well, that was at 100K, something else as well. He's definitely, it's in his periphery, that's for sure. And Elon working with Trump, be interesting to see if they pivot and come out pro Bitcoin, especially with Tesla. Because they hold, 9,000 Bitcoin? I think it's just a matter of time. But Joel Kruger, we believe the Fed chair's comparison of Bitcoin to gold is significant development as it introduces another level of credibility to Bitcoin as a major asset in global markets. The fact that gold is still about 10 times larger than Bitcoin should offer additional insight into how much more room there is for Bitcoin to grow from current levels. 100%. It's going to keep going up. Financial Times, like they've been hating on it for many, many years. Nevertheless, with Bitcoin's price recently crossing 100K, a significant number of commentators seem to feel they deserve an apology in light of our long-standing cynicism. So here it is. We're sorry if at any moment in the past 14 years you chose, based on our coverage, not to buy a thing whose number has gone up. It's nice when your number goes up, and we're sorry if you misunderstood our crypto cynicism to be a declaration of support for TradFi, because we hate that too. That's absolutely hilarious. In purely psychological terms, there is now no rational price between this and gold parity. The $100,000 level, it's not really about the price, but it's about what people believe about the price. And now where Bitcoin's gone, achieving $100,000, to me, in my mind, I'd love to know your thought. $1 million's guaranteed, and then 10 million's guaranteed. Over what time frame? I think $1 million over the next 6 years. By 2030, Mark Moss thinks $2 to $3 million. Michael Saylor, 13 million over the next 20. Anyone that spent any considerable amount of time believes Bitcoin is going up, but between like $99,200 and $1 million, it's not going to be in a straight line. We could go from $99,000, it's crazy, $99,000, and this is a correction from 100K, to 500,000. We could drop down to 300,000. It's $200,000 drop, and people are like, it's so over. And then we pump to 600,000. We come down to 400,000. We just step up, shakes everyone out. It's not going to be an easy path for anyone getting in here. Anyone that's been here for the last couple of years, even for the last 2 years, is used to it. Just to show, a yellow at ICO offender 2 is live with his space, or he's just. Yeah, there we go. I'll repost it at Sean Clark 911 and check that out and get the replay going. Now, Peter Schiff, I actually agree. I agree with him, and let us know if you do too. It's he send the signal. He's starting to turn around. He's starting to get it. Ironically, Bitcoin may end up destroying the dollar after all. Yes, sir. Not because it replaces the dollar as a global reserve currency, but because the US government embraces Bitcoin, prints trillions of dollars to buy it, and fuels a larger bubble that squanders the nation's wealth. It's just a wealth transfer. Print the bad money, put it into the new money. That's what's happening here, Peter. I look forward to it. This is what Bitcoin is designed to do. It is the separation of money from state. It's going away from the lies. Like, I was really thinking about Bitcoin yesterday and why it means so much to me personally. You know, I was a high school dropout, and that was like a blessing in disguise. But when we listen to mainstream media, I'm just going to go off on a bit of a tangent, just share a little bit about myself for a moment, if you don't mind giving me permission. And I was always trying to be able to break the matrix. Like, I knew something from a very, very young age. Like, I knew about digital IDs when I was about 14, that this was the game plan. The digital currency coming out, you know, with MasterCard and Visa and stuff, like really these plastic tap cards and stuff. You could see like the game was rigged. Started learning about money, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Went down that path. But because it's based my whole reality on fiat, which is a system that has really no set rules. Like, the way I was imagining it yesterday is like fiat's like this rubber band measuring stick. You can't really base any proper decisions on it because it just changes all the time. Like, say over the last 4 years, they're like printing all this money. We got this money in the last 4 years. Bang. They doubled the money supply. All the money that had been printed over the last 100 years, just doubled it. That's like really hard to be able to base a sound life decision, financial decision, whatever decision on. Then by finding Bitcoin and like really aligning with it, it changes. Or what I found for myself is it allowed me to, because Bitcoin is just math, it doesn't change. Like, the set rules, no rulers. The time chain is the time chain. Like, we're at the block height, the sats per USD are the sats per USD. Being able to use that as a foundation and then base every other decision on my life back on to truth, like on a solid foundation, it like really jumped up and accelerated that learning journey. And I think a lot of people are going to find that as well, that Bitcoin, at $100,000 or 99,000 or 200,000, it's irrelevant. It's one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. And how many Satoshis do we have, or how much of a Bitcoin, or do you have 10 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin? And that's going to be the next measure, but you can't game the system. You can't cheat it. You can't make more of it. It allows everything to be able to be fair. And I think it was like searching for something to make sense in the world, because it all just felt like a distortion. And then by finding Bitcoin, and it's like sort of sucking up all the lies and shining light on them, and it's amazing. I know I sort of went off on two tangents there. I do apologize, but let's come back to the truth. And why wake up every day? To be able to base my life on where are we in space and time. We're at block height 873,423. The target time for each block here is every 10 minutes we get a new one of these. And basically it's every transaction that's gone on the Bitcoin network for the last 10 minutes. They're wrapped up and they're put onto the Bitcoin blockchain. The nodes, they come in, they validate it, they approve it or not, and then it gets published to the rest of the network. But this just keeps stacking up. Over Bitcoin's history, it's been about 9 minutes 36, 9 minutes and 35 seconds has been the average block time. Public reachable nodes, it's good to see this has gone up a lot. Like, please run your own node. If you can see, oh, it's just out of shot, just there. But they're like a device about this big. And when you run your own node and you've got a hardware wallet paired with it, like Barack Obama says, it's like having a Swiss bank account in your pocket. But as people in the Bitcoin community rightly say, it's just better. It's just way better. They're very cheap to be able to do, and it allows you to verify that Bitcoin's there. But 20,050 total reachable nodes. This sats per VByte. Anytime 4 priority 9. 9's a little bit high. 4's still pretty cheap. 2's like really ideal. If you see that around 2, you want to consolidate your UTXOs even around 4. Eventually, like over the next say 5 years, when we're around 500,000, $1 million a coin, we're going to be 500,000 before then. But this is going to be very, very high. And if you send like little amounts to your wallet now, it may make sense just to be able to wrap them all up at once. Last block 10 minutes and 5 seconds ago, working as intended. Now, favorable news, it's coming out here in Australia. Favorable and not so favorable. We'll get into something in a sec. The gas line's really going to ramp up, but breaks 100,000 for the first time, pumped by Trump. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, has broken through 100K barrier for the first time after a surge in value this year on the increasing promise of a Donald Trump presidency, a recent spike in its realization. President-elect has promised to make the US the crypto capital of the planet, has said about making decisions that will boost digital currencies, of which Bitcoin is the most dominant. Overnight, he announced he intended to nominate cryptocurrency advocate Paul Atkins to chair the SEC, the US market regulator akin to the Australian Security and Investment Commission. He believes in the promise of robust, innovative capital markets that are responsive to the needs of investors and that provide capital to make our economy the best in the world. Looks like the stock market is going to be absolutely insane. Pump's just going to pump. Trump is going to pump the stock market, I think, and everyone's going to feel very wealthy, and Bitcoin's probably going to go a lot higher than what we think, if that is the case, and if they actually make it a strategic Bitcoin reserve. He also recognized that digital assets and other innovations are crucial to making America greater than ever before. October 4th, the date of the presidential election, one Bitcoin was 67K. Now, 4 weeks later, it's 102,000, 160,000 AUD. Global spot volumes are above mid-pandemic levels, and the nomination of Paul Atkins at the SEC just added to the carnival atmosphere. Given the reduced regulatory risk, the continued appeal of non-fiat assets because of the perception of the US fiscal prolificacy and greater geopolitical risks, there are continued tailwinds that could support price going higher. Going to continue for the rest of our lives. There will be pullbacks, there will be corrections. We'll skip that video and we'll go straight into this. And today the FUD continues the stage here in Australia. Organised crime. Australians turned into money mules chasing crypto cash. Australia has the third largest number of cryptocurrency ATMs in the world. They are being used to launder money for organised crime. Doesn't make any sense. They want your ID. The exchange rate is absolutely massive on them. Better to buy Bitcoin on an exchange, send it to your hardware wallet. That's the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. This is a crazy moment in human history. for a lot of people watching, you've already gone down the rabbit hole. Please don't stop orange pilling people, but it is going to get like insanely volatile, and just hopefully impart the knowledge, the wisdom that they need to be here for a long time, not just day in, day out. Just got someone there real quick. Give me 2 secs and I'll just help this person out and I'll be back. But that's the news, then we'll get into a bit of a banter. So if you're not hanging around for the banter, please do something nice for yourself, for somebody else. And we'll see you on the next video. British Huddle podcast is coming out, so hit subscribe, the notification. Lawrence Lepard will be dropping very shortly, as well as Samson Meow. There's some really epic ones coming, but I'll come back for a chat. 2 secs. Just is there anyone from Ireland in the chat? What a cool bunch of people. For the company yesterday, we're talking to some real high-level people over in Ireland, and so awesome. I guess not because of the time zone. It was like a really, really late night for us with them, but really incredible. Let us know where you are tuning in from, and shout out to everyone. Isn't it weird? Like it's cool that Bitcoin hit 100K and then it's come just back down under it, which is grand and glorious. It's an opportunity. We'll see if I've got any fiat to be able to fire off. And I guess, like, when to stop buying? Never, maybe. There is going to get a point in this cycle, like, where it just jumps up crazy. And if you're just DCAing for the next 4 years or whatever, it really doesn't matter. But there will be points where it's overheated. If we go from like $150,000 to $200,000 in a day, it's more than likely, like, high probability of it coming back down for a correction, you know, say like 160, and before it goes higher. But I guess maybe just have a game plan to be able to get as many Bitcoin as possible, because that's the game that's going on. It's not nice to have anymore. I think it's essential for freedom. Unfortunately, because so many people in the world don't have Bitcoin. They think it's magic internet money, and you know. Yes, I said, like, well done, Bitcoin psychopaths. It's what I'm pretty sure it came from the Financial Times, calling us psychos. Anyone holding Bitcoin, maybe, because it's so volatile, it goes up and down so much. But it's just math. It's just going to suck up the liquidity. The fiat dollar is dying. I don't see really any way out. Gold sort of to an extent, but we live in a digital world. You can't send a gold bar. Like, I can't pay the video editor or thumbnail designer overseas in gold, unfortunately. And if I use the banks, I can ban from PayPal, so I can't use that. And the banks, well, they're going to take 5 days and however many, probably $30 in fees per time, more. G'day, 1 million coming, 100%. It is. And Tryptamine Nurse, it's good to see you in the chat again. Zig, up and to the right, g'day, mate, forever. Jan works for Larry Fink. I do not know who this Jane Adams is. Hardly any left on the exchange. Regular people are finally able to create generational wealth. They truly are. And there's still that opportunity. Like, it's expensive. You don't need to buy a full Bitcoin, which is the good thing. And anything now, like, we could see at $100,000. Now it's just $1 million. And that's the next step. Everything in between is just time. Just time. Time chain, man. Congrats, 100K gang. It's really cool. But now I think Bitcoin's become serious, like is almost like a toy or is like testing for it to hit $100,000. I think for financial media, for TradFi, for every mom and pop out there, for people that weren't paying attention, I think that's changed. I think that historic moment has changed. Stack the like button and chill on the subscribe button. Time Chain Man, truly appreciate you. Darren, I shall try call you today, brother, and talk airplanes, Bitcoin. G'day, legends. Good morning, Sean. Wow, 100K. What a grand and glorious day. How freaking awesome. What do you like about 100K the most? I was talking to my wife yesterday. She's like, so what? Like, wasn't it already going there? I'm like, yes. And I'm like, but it actually happened. She's like, you knew it would. Like, you're telling me years ago that it would. I'm like, yes, like I believed it would, and mathematically it's just where it's designed to go. But for it to actually hit and to be able to see it, I think proved to myself that all my thinking over the last couple of years was on point and wasn't distorted like the fiat system. Maybe that's what I was trying to say earlier. That's what I love about 100K is Bitcoin just does what we believe it's going to do because it's mathematically sound. It's based on truth. Trump can free Ross, Bitcoin can free humanity. And let's hope both happen. It's the only promise that I want Trump to keep. Doesn't matter. Can I control Trump? No. Can any of us? No. But, Bitcoin is collectively, individually no, but collectively put pressure on him and made it a reality. So I hope Trump just comes through with that. Bitcoin, it really doesn't care. Nation states, they're already here. Literally, El Salvador is here. I feel like the UAE is stacking. What Putin said yesterday, interesting. What Jerome Powell said yesterday in regards to Bitcoin, it's interesting. Bitcoin, for anyone that doesn't get it, they've just lost. They've lost like the greatest game that's going on at the moment. They're playing checkers while people with Bitcoin are playing chess. But let's hope he just does that and Bitcoin will do its own thing. If Trump does come on board, strategic Bitcoin reserve, yeah, it's accelerating, but we're already ahead of schedule. Trump likes to give himself credit for everything that can make him look good. Of course. Yeah, he's an actor, he's a politician. Like, do we expect anything less? No. Is he a master of his craft? Yes. Did he win? Like he won. There's absolutely no denying that. He's playing a game. He's very good at the game. And if he wants to take credit, good. And am I going to give him credit? No. But he can take it all he wants. People can do as they want. It's a free world. I agree. I'm getting notifications to say the hardware is on its way. Nice. So Darren, cold card, it's an amazing device. And running a node, you're free, bro. Yep. It's so cool. It's like everyone around the world, everyone watching this, we've got the opportunity to be our own bank. And that's a pretty amazing time in human history, regardless of the price, whether it's at $10 or is it $1 million right now. We've got that opportunity. It still happens. You can still do it. It's amazing. What about supply? I'm not sure who are in. Like, are you asking like what's left on the exchanges? To be honest, I have no idea. And it's sort of a hard metric, really, because as the price comes up, more coins will come on. It's getting drawn down rapidly, but there'll be points like where it jumps, where there'll just be nothing. Maybe that's what's going on with Robinhood. Maybe that's why Coinbase keeps closing down. Maybe that's why exchanges try not to let you withdraw your Bitcoin. There's I don't know. The only supply I care about is what's in my hardware wallet and what I can see on my own node. I know that's not the question you're answering. I just don't know, nor to me is it that's that relevant. Bitcoin it's going to 1 million. It's laser eyes to 1 million. Laser eyes until fiat dies, really. Who ahead thought I'd come back with the beer. I don't drink. Just tea and spring water. Historic times, it truly is. Have a cold card queue and a node. It's very, very cool. It is very, very cool. As Trump says, have fun playing with your biddies and learning to be able to protect them, hold on for dear life. Well done for being here. It's an incredible time. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. We've got that British Huddle video. He's frick, he's ruthless. No holds barred. He just lays it as he sees it, which I really respect. Don't agree with everything, but I really respect him and his voice and everything he's done to push people to get to 1 Bitcoin. In regards to getting to 1 Bitcoin, if you haven't already, now's the chance. You may or may not get there, but if that's a target, that's a pretty good place to be able to aim. In my opinion, that is, I don't know, 1 Bitcoin. It depends. Like 0.1 Bitcoin's generational wealth. It's just generational wealth and a little bit longer. So like any Bitcoin's better than no Bitcoin, but to really like speed track that, fast track, that's just the more Bitcoin you can hold. But it'll be interesting to see the cycle where we go to. And I'm not going to give out any predictions. I think it's going to be pretty high. I don't think we're going to hit 1 million, but that's just my opinion. It'll come down and then it'll keep going up, but like prolongs bear markets for a year or 2 years, maybe not. Maybe that's how the super cycle starts, and like these 4-year cycles, and eventually they go into it. The drawdowns are not going to be as big. Instead of maybe like an 86, we only get like a 40-50% correction, maybe not even that. Darren Parry, I spent the last couple of days in Bundy with my dad, been talking to him about Bitcoin for ages. He wouldn't have a bar of it. Yesterday, he gave me a stack of cash to invest in Bitcoin for him. That's what I love about the price so much. And I love that story, Darren, is it allows people to pay attention to it. And like, especially our friends, our family, they look at us, they see who we used to be, and they don't see all the proof work, the thousands of hours or hundreds of hours that have gone into studying Bitcoin, really understanding. And like for me, it's been thousands and thousands of hours looking into it, trying to find a reason why it won't work. The only thing I come back with is Jeff Booth. As long as it stays decentralized and secure, it's going up into the right forever. But sort of they fail to see that, I feel, or we don't communicate that clearly, concisely, doesn't come across, or they've just got a hang up of who we once were and they don't get it, or the schemes we've tried in the past, or the opportunities, the business we've gone down that have failed. And they're like, no, I'm not doing this magic internet money. I've heard so much bad things about it. It's a scam, especially here in Australia. It's used for money laundering. Like, here we go again, Operation Choke Point 3.0, Jamie Dimon, Elizabeth Warren, like just all the tax, IMF, the World Bank coming in, they buy into it. They think that we're unhinged, this like, you know, something. But then when you see Larry Fink come out, Bitcoin $100,000, and it's been reported absolutely everywhere, like price this built-in marketing mechanism, that's great. And each cycle will bring new people in. Obviously, right at the top where the price is like really frothy, say we're at 500,000, say that's where we peak this cycle, people are going to buy there. Crash, maybe we come down to 200,000-300,000, whatever, I'm making numbers up. They're really irrelevant. Bitcoin will be what it'll be. But those people will be like, see, told you it's a scam, I'm never touching it ever again. But there'll be some people in that cohort that bought it at 500,000, comes down to 300,000. They've put in a little bit of work, but then they really start to understand it and go through. And then Bitcoin like grows. It's sort of like the way that I see it, the same as the price chart. We'll go up, we'll come down, then we'll consolidate for a while, and then we'll go up, we'll come down, and then we'll consolidate for a while. And it's just an opportunity to be able to teach ourselves, to be able to gain conviction, to be able to bring in new people. It's like trial by fire. It's not an easy journey, but if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. And that's the way I see it. 100% we'll hit 1 million. Do you reckon this cycle? Like 1 million to me is all but guaranteed, as long as we stay decentralized and secure. Guaranteed. Over what time frame, I don't know. Nor do I care. The lower, the better it is. It's going to happen too bloody quick. Like 100,000, bittersweet. You know, I was sort of promised it 2 years ago. We got it yesterday. Cool. and now Bitcoin's more expensive. Satoshis are under 1,000. Well, at the moment, actually, and this may be one of the last times in human history, maybe not. Let's load it up. 1,009 sats per USD. This number here next to the green circle, just under the price. For every $1, you get 1,009 Satoshis. Every Bitcoin's made up of 100 million Satoshis at the moment. You get 1,000. Crazy. At $1 million, it drops under 100, or it drops to 100. That's going to be a trip. That's going to be at a trip. 10 million, it's at 10. Bloody hell. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? Wait, like buying $1, waiting for $10 million, which is 100x for now. It's turning every $1 into $100. What's inflation going to be at that stage? Depends how long it takes, but it's really not going to take that long either. Yes, let's get to 1 million first, but it's all but guaranteed. What happens between now and then is the story that what's of interest to me. It's the greatest story ever told. I'm so glad to be here with everyone. 250 to 400K in 2025. That sounds fair. I'm still basing my own thoughts on like 150,000. That's what I've stuck to for the last couple of years, personally, and that's what I'll be telling my wife. If it goes higher, it goes higher. It's great. And I strongly believe that is so bearish, but I'd prefer to be bearish because it really doesn't matter and it's going to exceed my own expectation. Countries trying to front run us. If we announce the strategic reserve, countries try to front run us. Yeah. Well, it's already announced it though. Like they're already doing it. I strongly believe the UAE is buying, like what Putin said. Surely they've got to have a fair amount of Bitcoin. I'm sure they already do. Russia, Bitcoin holding. 10% of the population currently own crypto. Russia mined over $3 billion in Bitcoin last year. There you go. No thanks. The mining activity reportedly generated $556 million in taxes. Actually, one thing that I thought, and that was really interesting to me last night, I was having some real cool thoughts, is with Bitcoin hitting $100,000 and a Bitcoin strategic reserve coming into reality, and whether, like, El Salvador was the first, but say Trump, like for global superpowers, is the first, or it's Russia or China, somebody's going to do it. The rest of the world's going to start to wake up. But like, how's the story go over the next 100 years, 200 years, the next 1,000 years? Because Bitcoin is the best form of money. It's designed to live forever as long as there's a node going. At the moment, I believe that nuclear worldwide is the best, safest form, most abundant form of energy that we can create. Maybe they'll come up with something better. Maybe they'll refine solar and wind panels. I don't think so, maybe. I think, like, for the amount of resources. Anyway, that aside, I reckon nation states are just going to start building more and more nuclear reactors or greater energy generation. I'm sure there's technology out there for free energy. Tesla was working on it back in the day, and all those diaries went missing. But in whatever way, I think countries are going to, like, really start to invest in their energy infrastructure in a profound way. And it may not happen straight away. Like in Australia, we're going through with this green agenda. I think we've spent like $9 billion on solar and wind farms that are costing us a huge amount of money. The grid, especially in Victoria, needs to be just like ripped out and put back in. And again, pretty much underground. A lot of problems. But eventually, slowly, I think this new reality that we're stepping into, we are going to have abundant energy. That abundant energy is going to power major Bitcoin mining farms. And that's going to be like the new military power, superpower, but it's going to be prosperity. And I think the hash rate is going to go up forever and ever and ever. And I think it truly, when we're back on like a Bitcoin standard, it'd be similar to the gold standard, but better, like times of the pyramids, the amazing architecture. I think that's when we like flying cars already exist. But I think it's where like humanity transforms. Maybe we get freaking hoverboards, whatever it is. I think like we're stepping into a very prosperous era for individuals on a Bitcoin stand. The beautiful, great, big red buy button. Don't you love to see it? I absolutely love it. This gets me excited. This got me excited and fired up and ready to go for the last 5 years. The fucking red buy button. It's back, baby. It is back. But I think it's a pretty bloody exciting time in human history. And I don't think it's going to be easy. And there's still this transition. There's still going to be gaslighting and nation states when they're scrambling to get Bitcoin. It's going to get pretty ruthless. The FUD attacks are going to come out. You know, we'll see what happens with Microsoft next week, but it makes zero sense that the age of technology, the age of information, the age of AI, not to have the world's hardest, best money that's digital, the best store of value ever known to human history. It's going to be like a mad rush, absolute mad rush, and then could get a little hectic as inevitably the dollar dies. It's already dying. It's just like, how long can it last for? How long can they kick the can down the road? And then we'll transition to a bright orange future. It'll be grand and glorious. And I guess all we need to do in the meantime is just buy, stack, and chill. Truly, just thank you so much for being here, putting in the time, reading the books. I've linked these books below. Bitcoin Evangelism is absolutely amazing. It's a great one. Parallel is where we're going. So that was book one. Parallel is, man, that's sad. That's sad. I need to put some tape on it. That's need to treat books better than that. But Parallels where we're going, and the new era that Bitcoin just is, and like $1 million, I think it's inevitable. Wales already dumped Bitcoin to $95,000. Well, it's dumped to 95,000. I'm not crying. It's an opportunity. Considering every Bitcoin did in the last 5 years, I'd be extremely cautious with buying Bitcoin at such high prices like $105,000. Yeah, man, you do your own research. I don't think you should. I do not think you should. I think you should study Bitcoin and understand why it's going up and to the right for forever. And it can go from $100,000 down to $95,000. It can go from $100,000 down to $70,000 in one day, and I'd still be bloody optimistic on it. But you do you, bro. This is exactly why you don't buy Bitcoin at high prices. Bitcoin's always going to be at a high price. Like, I first heard about Bitcoin at $96 Australian, started buying it when it was $30,000 Australian. It's 300x more expensive. This is a pretty bloody high price. It's always going to be at a high price. Then it dropped down. And then went up to $69,000. I was buying it there. And I dropped all the way down. And I've bought it all the way back up. And I made my last buy last week, I think, at $97,000. If I've got cash there, I'll keep buying it. But for you, mate, don't. Wow, 90K. Please don't get shaken out. But for yourself, Uni Death Raven Troll, I don't think you're the type of person to be able to buy Bitcoin yet. Study it. You do you. Best of luck. Oh my God. No wonder you got Troll in your name. Best of luck. And I guess everyone gets Bitcoin at the price you deserve. Uni Death Raven, it'll be like when it's, like you could have bought it at $67,000 4 weeks ago. Maybe another 4 weeks. Maybe it's at 150,000. Maybe it's not. And whether it's at 90,000 or 100,000 today, over time, it doesn't matter. But you need to do your own research. So I'll leave you with that. Please do something nice for yourself. There's somebody else out there. Give them the gift of knowledge. Because Uni Death Raven Troll has failed to read the books and understands or is just having fun. That's fine. Who is rug pulling us? Oh, man. Who has given us this grand and glorious opportunity with a beautiful red buy button? Any dips? As Samson Mouse said. As Samson Mouse. Guys, freaking orange pillar nation states.